Hello everyone and welcome to today's Free Training Friday. My name is Kaylee White. I'm a marketing coordinator at Abacus Next, and today we'll be talking about document management. I have with us today Brandon Bonner. He is a training consultant at OfficeTools, and this webinar is being recorded, so don't worry about taking notes or anything like that. And we will be taking your questions in about 20 minutes. This is a 30-minute webinar, 10 minutes for questions and answers at the end. So please do submit your questions as we go in the question portion of the GoToWebinar panel. Without further ado, I think I'll let Brandon take it over. Hey, Brandon.
Hey, Kaylee. Thanks for introducing me. Welcome everybody to this webinar. Today we're going to be talking about document management, as Kaylee said, so buckle up, it's going to be fun. Like she said, it's going to be kind of a straight to the point organization, introduction, overview to make sure that you guys know what we're looking at, know what we're seeing. Let's give you some tips on how to utilize it better, how to utilize it more efficiently. So as far as our PowerPoint goes, as you can probably see on the screen here, we're not going to spend very much time in here. This is just basically the introduction. Here you go. Here's what you see. Free Training Friday. Good for us. Onwards. But real quick, just to get you guys familiar, we're going to run a little poll to start this off with, just to see if there's any other areas that you guys would like to know more about. That way we can kind of formulate our Free Training Fridays around what you guys are looking to see. So I'm going to run that right now, and you guys just go ahead and take a look at that. Plug in some information if you'd like, fill out what you're looking to see in the future. That way we can make sure that, again, we're meeting what you guys are expecting out of these things. So we'll give a couple of seconds on that. And while that's running, I'm just going to pull up and in the background here for us real quick the topics that we're going to kind of talk about on the document management side. So we're going to let this run for a few seconds. There's only 14 of us in here today, so we don't need to spend that much time waiting for this poll to close. So as you can see in the background, once the poll is down, we're going to be looking at kind of where the document management system starts. I'll give you some background on how that works. We'll talk about adding documents and a few different methods of adding those, and then how to find them once they're in OfficeTools. And then we're going to open up the floor to you guys so that you guys can ask the questions that are on the forefront of your mind. So looks like everybody's done with the poll already. So at this point, it's about 50% between time and billing and workflow, and 40% on the management and reporting side. So we're going to take that into consideration when we develop our next sessions. Make sure, again, that we're giving you guys what you're looking for. So thank you very much for taking the time there to give us some insight on what you're expecting out of these things. So as you can see, I'll just share it with you guys so you can see it real quick. But that's kind of what we looked at there. We got 50%, 50%, 20, 20, 40. So that's going to be kind of how we're looking on there. All right. So moving on, as you guys can see, again, just a real quick introduction here. Document management system inside of OfficeTools has to do with digital files and making sure that you have a one-stop shop and an area where all of your documents are stored, where you're doing your time and billing, where you're doing your workflow, where you're managing your contact data. We have the capability of having all of those things in one program, as most of you guys probably already know. So as we're going through, we're going to talk about getting it set up originally, making sure you understand how it works, going through, like I said, there's going to be 3 major methods of adding documents into our system. And then once we've added them, how do we find them? How are we interacting with them? And what are the rules that we're looking at when it comes down to that? Okay. So if you don't mind, I'm going to move this out of the way. We're going to get our PowerPoint out of the way and jump actually into the system. So for those of you guys who have used OfficeTools for any amount of time, you guys know that to get to the document management system, you're going to utilize the Documents tab. And for those of you guys who don't know, that's located at the very last tab here. It says Documents. So when we click on that, we're actually in the Documents area. So if you weren't sure where it was or weren't sure what we were talking about when we said document management, it's the last tab in the software that you guys already purchased. And this isn't an add-on. This isn't something that you have to pay extra for. Everybody that has OfficeTools has access to this Documents tab. Now, just some background, some quick pointers on how this document management system works so that you guys can kind of understand what to expect here. You know, Phil does a lot of these free training Fridays, and he uses this word called techno mumbo jumbo. So if you guys have been in any of those sessions, you might have heard him say that. So I'm going to give you a little bit of techno mumbo jumbo on how the document management system works, and then we're going to show you the application so that you can actually see it. So techno mumbo jumbo is OfficeTools is an indexing system, which means that we're not actually storing your files. We use what's called a cross-folder search and merge to actually allow you to see what we have indexed. Okay? But to keep in mind, the files are not actually stored inside of OfficeTools. There's no document database. So for those of you guys who've used like DMS from Lacert, that is a actual document database. The file exists in that system. That's not how we work. The files are housed locally on your guys' server or in the cloud or wherever you guys are at that point. Wherever your OfficeTools database is stored is typically somewhere in that same environment is going to be where your digital files are stored. There's going to be no separation there. So when it comes down to it, if for whatever reason you ended up not using OfficeTools in the future, you'd be able to access those files on a Windows file folder structure on your server or wherever you guys have it mapped, nice and neat, organized very clearly without much hassle on that front. So just keep that in mind as we go through and you guys are thinking about questions and you guys are coming up with your ideas on how you want to implement this, that the files don't actually exist within our document management system. So to kind of get rolling, how you're going to implement, how you're going to start utilizing the OfficeTools document management system is coming up with that location. So as I just said, your documents are stored on your server or on a location housed locally by you guys somewhere. And you need to tell us where that location is. Okay? And to find that location and to set that up, you're going to access under the Setup menu in OfficeTools, under the My Company section, Information in Settings, you're going to go down to the option here that says Documents. And this is where you're going to tell OfficeTools where you want us to actually index and store those digital files that you're bringing in to our system. So you have three options here, and in most cases you're really only going to use the first one here that says Document Management Folder. And if you hover over it, it will give you a basic description as to what that document management folder means. But most directly, you're just going to go in and browse your PC and find the location that you want to store these files. If you have a current document management system that you're utilizing, or you have a current Windows file structure that you're utilizing, do not just take it upon yourself to link it up and think it's going to work. Make sure to get in contact with one of our trainers to kind of consult you on that, because there are some things that you need to keep in mind when creating and trying to link up existing structures to OfficeTools. So most likely this should be an empty location. OfficeTools will begin creating the folders as it needs them. Do not try to link this up to something that already exists. So in this scenario, we mapped it to the S drive to this folder called Data, which means that our OfficeTools document management system will start building the folders that it needs at that root level. And we're going to illustrate that in a little bit better detail here coming up, okay? So once you've plugged in your document management folder, you've specified the location you want your documents to be stored on, there's a couple other options you guys need to take into consideration. So manage the document subfolders. On that S drive, under the data folder that we have created there, we are going to start creating regular old Windows folders. And those folders are going to exist in a very specific structure. And that structure is going to be defined by the option that you choose right here. Now, the best practice and what you're almost always going to select is going to be by contact by year. That's going to allow you to get a folder for the client name And then under that client name folder, it's going to start listing the years. Okay? And then under the year, it's going to have your projects. And then under those projects, you're going to have a list of categories, right? You guys can see include category as a subfolder as well. That's going to be your folder path: client, year, project, category. Now, it may be a little less. You might just have client, year, category. You might just have client category. For example, if you guys are storing a permanent file of some sort, you're not going to associate that to a year or to a project. That's just going to exist directly underneath the client itself. So that would be category, client, category. You might have a 2017 1040 tax return source docs, right? So that would be the year, the project, and the category, right? You guys will follow what I'm saying as we start going through this and we start seeing how things are linked up. Each of the labels that we give a file is going to exist as a folder under the location you've specified here. So if you guys are taking notes or want to take a screenshot, the section that's up right now at the bottom here, this is the default that we recommend. This is our best practice. If you're unsure or you're just setting this up for the first time, make sure that you emulate what's on screen at this point from the Manage Document Subfolders option downwards. We want you to accomplish exactly what's showed here. If you have something specific or some tailoring that you think you might want to do with the document system, again, let us know and we'll help you out with that. Make sure that you're getting these things situated correctly. So that's the foundation. You've now specified where you want OfficeTools to store the physical files. So the next piece is setting up those categories. So you remember that last level of folders that we have in our folder structure, you guys can customize that level. And that, again, is called categories. So your category listing inside of OfficeTools is based around your needs. So you want to get in there, you want to make sure that you're updating that with the titles of documents that you'd like to have. And the way that you're going to access that list is under the setup menu here. You're going to head down to the documents option and you're going to see the categories list right here. And as you can see, and again, if you're brand new, you'll see that OfficeTools comes defaulted in with specific categories that we've already recognized as part of the accounting world. So you shouldn't need to add certain things like permanent file or tax returns. Those should already exist in our system. So it's your job to tailor this a little bit. Okay? So make sure that you have what you need. And in a lot of cases, that might mean going back and looking at your older structure and figuring out what you want and how you want to label files inside of OfficeTools. Once you've developed your category list, at that point, technically you're ready to start utilizing our document management system. So in kind of broad strokes, those are the two things that are required in order to set the document management system up and get it running and have it be useful to you. You got to set up the location where you want your files to be stored, and you have to set up your categories on how you want to be able to label those files. And at that point, your document system is up and running. Now I'm going to illustrate the way that our document system works so that you guys can kind of understand it. So bear with me on this story. I'm a little young for it, but I saw the bare bones of something. When you guys used to go to the library, right? You would go into the library, you would have something specific you'd be looking for, and the way that you would find that book is you would go to the drawers, you would pull out that Dewey Decimal card, and it would tell you where that book is located. You would then head over to the shelf and you would find that book, you pull it out, and you go check it out, right? The OfficeTools document management system actually works very similarly to that. What we have, when you have a file in OfficeTools, so right now we have this document in here, or what looks to be a document in OfficeTools. Think of that link, think of this document right here as that Dewey Decimal card. It's telling you where the file is located. It's located under the client, unspecified. It's located under the category 2014, and then any other categories that we have in there as well. So project, if we labeled this as a tax return or as an email or something like that, that's the Dewey Decimal call number. That's where you would go to find the file. So on the server where you're storing the files, you would follow that same Dewey Decimal System idea to find the physical file. And then you would go check the book out. So when you click on the document here, it's basically following that path and opening the file for you. So when you open the file, your files are not opening in OfficeTools, they're opening in the original system program that you guys created that file in. So that means Adobe files can be stored in here, Word documents can be stored in here, Excel files, QuickBook files, anything that can exist in Windows can exist in OfficeTools, because it is just a link back to where that file is located on the server. So if you go to the server and you move something around, or you rename a file name, or you put it in a different folder, this link that exists in OfficeTools is going to break, and it will say missing over here on the right hand side, meaning that document where we thought it was, it no longer exists. So asterisk, for those of you guys who are taking notes, do not manage your files from the server location, because it is very likely you will mess some link up in OfficeTools and you will not be able to get to the actual file that you're looking for when you need it. You'll have to go try to find it back in the back end, and that can create a very large headache, both to find the file and to programmatically fix the link in OfficeTools. So that being said, you should always utilize the OfficeTools interface to organize, manage, access, rename, open up. Everything that you need to do with a file should happen from OfficeTools. So that being said, how are you actually going to interact with the Documents tab? So like I said in the beginning, kind of the opening there, you're going to utilize three methods of import. The first, the best practice, the most likely that you're going to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis is going to be the drag and drop. So dragging and dropping consists of taking a file from where it used to exist. So this example, I have a Word doc sitting here on my desktop, and moving it into the OfficeTools indexing system. So how do you do that? You will literally click on it, drag it into OfficeTools, and then let go of your mouse to drop it in, and that's going to pull open this Create New Document window, right? So you just take it from where it exists. That can be inside of Outlook, that can be on your server in a folders tree that you've already have designated, that can be sitting there on your desktop, anywhere that that file exists. Just drag it right from where it was and drop it into the big white area on the Documents tab. And that's going to pull open the Create New Document window. And at that point, you're going to utilize the year, the project, if applicable, and the category that you guys have come up with. And that's going to specify where that file actually exists. And one major thing that I want you guys to know about that is that that file will be moved to the server location. Now, you can also install a PDF printer driver so that you can print directly to OfficeTools, which will pull open that same window. And you can install a drop folder to where you can scan a file or drag and drop a file into that folder. That way it pulls open that same window. And those are the three methods, but dragging and dropping right into our system is going to be the best manner of getting files in. Okay? So you have drag and drop, you have under the Documents tab, under the Install button, a way to install a PDF printer driver, and you have under the Setup component here, a way of linking up a drop folder. If you guys want some more information on that, we also have user guides that can walk you through that process. Once the file is in OfficeTools, you're going to utilize searches and filters to find the files that you want. So now that we have a couple files in the document management system here, we're going to utilize that same year, that same project, and that same category filter to actually get to the file I'm looking for. So for example, if I want to find a 2017 investment file, I'm going to go into the year section, choose 2017, and then go to category and choose investment file. And that's going to filter my list down so that I can see what the files are that meet my criteria. And you can layer as many levels of this as you'd like onto this. So you can choose a file type, right? You can click on like .docs there. You can search the file name itself. Again, year, project, and category. You can even go so far as to specify which staff member actually uploaded the file. So in broad strokes, from setting the document management system up, choosing the location that you want to store your files, choosing your filters as far as categories are concerned, dragging and dropping files, printing to OfficeTools, or utilizing our drop folder, to actually finding the files itself inside of the Documents tab, you'll see that overall and in general, it all flows together. You're going to utilize those categories, those projects, those years, the file names itself, and the types of files to find documents after they've been pulled into OfficeTools. And if for whatever reason you ever need to find that file on the server, you can hover over it to know that that file is actually still safe and sound on your server in that nice file folder structure located right there. So where if you ever need to go get it or you ever stop using OfficeTools, those files are all located there. So what we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be taking a look at the questions. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and just drop those into that section so that we can take a look at them. Okay. So right now, we says, how do you set up to move emails directly to Docs? Is that recommended? Pros and cons. Okay. So there's a couple ways of moving emails from OfficeTools or from Outlook, let's just say, to OfficeTools. That's going to be the most direct way. If you're using something other than Outlook, it's going to be mostly moving it to the desktop first and then into OfficeTools. But if you're utilizing Outlook, you have the capability of utilizing our sync tool, which if you'd like more information about that, we have some information available to you, which can automatically pull in emails into the document system based on email address. Or you can also just drag and drop directly out of Outlook and right into OfficeTools, which will create a .msg file, which means that when you click on it and open it, it will actually open in Outlook. You can still reply to it, forward it, see the attachments, all that stuff will be available. And that's just directly out of Outlook right into OfficeTools. And honestly, it's all pros. There's not really any cons to making sure that any document you guys need to reference for a client is located in OfficeTools. Okay? There are some pros and some cons to the Outlook sync, which I'm sure we'll have some sort of training Friday on that at some point. But again, we have some user guides. You can also reach out to training@officetools.com if you want some questions answered on the Outlook sync itself. But as far as dragging and dropping the document directly into us, it's all pros. It's making sure everybody's on the same page. Everybody can see the information that you might be talking with the client about. It's creating that universal system where everybody can go to see what's going on. So dragging and dropping right out of the system, right out of Outlook, right into OfficeTools is the best way to do that. So another question that we have here is there a way to copy a file from the location that you're trying to get it into OfficeTools from into the document management system instead of moving, I would assume, is the full question there. So we don't highly recommend that you copy files. The more you copy, the more disconnect there is. So if you have an Excel file sitting on your desktop and you copy it and put a copy of that Excel file into OfficeTools, now you have two versions, and that's a workable file. As you edit information, add information onto one version of that Excel spreadsheet, it's not updating back through to the rest of them, right? So in most cases, we don't want you to copy it, but copying happens outside of our system. Once you drag and drop, it's moving. So you would have to copy it before it gets into our system in order to make sure that you retained a version of that. But again, that's not best practice. That's not what we recommend. We want you to allow it to move it into the location that it's supposed to be in and have one version, one document that everybody's sharing. Next question that we have here is, what would be the quickest way to copy an Excel sheet model from one client to another? So now we're talking a little bit outside of OfficeTools, although I understand the question. In most cases, if you need a version of a file right? And this isn't just from one client to another, but also from maybe one time frame to another. It's always going to be a save as. Okay, so you're going to save as, just like you always have. This isn't an Office Tools functionality. Save as, and then save it to your desktop. Drag and drop it in. Or save it to our drop folder. And that drop folder is going to be what vacuums it in, allows you to store the information. Okay? But that save as is going to be what you utilize to move a document from one client to another, from one time frame to another. To continue working in like months bank recs, you might want to keep one version for June solid and solidified, but then save as and keep working for July. And you would utilize that again through the save as functionality, drag and drop that file back in, or save as directly to your drop folder, and that will pull it back into Office Tools and allow you to rename the client if necessary, label it, do all that you need to do inside of there. Next question that we have is, when you save as on an existing document, will the new document automatically save in the Documents tab? That is a no. As we just discussed there, you will have to drag and drop it back into the system or save as directly to your drop folder, which will do a version of pulling it in automatically. But because we don't know if it's the same client, same year, same project, same category, we're going to pop up with that Create New Document window and make sure that it's getting to the right spot. So no, when you do a save as, it is not going to automatically pull back into the Documents tab. You have to trigger something else to get it back into Office Tools. Again, that drop folder is the secret. Next question by Annette here is, can you delete a document once it has been saved in Office Tools? So depending upon user rights, okay, because this isn't something you necessarily want everybody to be able to do. But inside of the toolbar of Office Tools, you'll see that you have a delete button. And when you click on delete, it will ask you two questions. Remove the reference or delete the entire document. Removing the reference just gets rid of the shortcut out of Office Tools, but it leaves the file in the folder structure on the back end. And deleting the document, as you can see, is permanently deleting the actual document from the hard drive, which means it's not going to the trash can. You will not be able to get it back. It is going to be permanently removed from your hard drive. So try to stay away from that as much as possible. Okay? But that's going to be how you actually delete files once it's in Office Tools, is clicking on the delete button up here in the toolbar. We have one last poll that we're going to run right now because we have a couple minutes left, and it's just basically going to be kind of seeing if you'd like more information on some of our programs that we have. I'm going to launch this up. Part of the document management system is storing physical files on your servers. And the longer you utilize Office Tools, the more information you're storing, the more space that's taking up, the slower some of your systems might become. So we do offer a private cloud company. Okay, and so you do have the capability of allowing us to store not just your documents, but also all of your programs, host it for you, provide IT, provide all of that information, so you have the capability of doing that. So if you'd like some more information on the Office Tools optimized cloud provider, go ahead and just answer appropriately in the poll there, and we'll get you some more information on that. I think we're right at our time. So I'm going to close this poll down, double check, make sure we don't have any more questions, and at that point, thank you very much for joining us today. Keep in mind, we do run free training Fridays for a lot of different topics, so sign up, get familiar with Office Tools. If you guys have any questions or need any help on anything, go ahead and just email us. training@officetools.com. We'll be more than happy to help you guys. You can also schedule training sessions from the Abacus Next website under the Professional Services banner. So feel free to make sure that you guys are reaching out to us and getting things familiar. At this point, I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
like Kaylee said in the
Brandon.
beginning, yeah, you guys can expect an email. So thanks, guys. I appreciate your guys' attendance.
Yes, thank you so much. One reminder, next Wednesday we are having a webinar about the Abacus Private Cloud. As Brandon mentioned, it is optimized for hosting your office tools. It provides more security for your firm for all of the programs that you use, as well as enables mobility. You can work from anywhere on any device with the Abacus Private Cloud. So I highly recommend that you sign up for our webinar. It's on Wednesday, November 22nd, called Safeguard and Mobilize Your Firm with Abacus Private Cloud. You can sign up at abacusnext.com/webinars, and there will be a link to join that webinar in today's follow-up email. So thank you all so much. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you guys.